Well, as Frankie mentioned, the 7Kaltron Formula Supercars and Bejo Trustees Fine Cars will come out for their second race of the day, and well, Glenn Phillips win the first race of this race day in the Supercars section, and it was actually Kuni Matea that won the Fine Cars section in his 928 Porsche. Another great performance from him and from Jaco Oosthuizen's Conquest. But of course, in the first race, Andrew Moffat had the coming together with the wall, and I doubt he'll be out there because that was quite a heavy hit. It took a little while to clean up. But, well, here's Glenn in the pole position, Darman, Hume in third position, Halleck in fourth position, and then rounding it all off, the number 39 of Moffat. Actually, Moffat is out there. So they've put a new front bumper on, put a bit of tape on it, and he's ready to go.
Right, so we've got 5 Kaltron supercars out there, of which the man in pole position is Glenn Phillips, Yassine Darman, Craig Hume, Carl Halleck, and Andrew Moffat. So they work their way off the line behind the Renault Triber. That is the safety car that will lead this group of Kaltron engineering supercars off the line. And then Byron, the Bejo Trustees Fine Cars, leave the line as well. And pole sitter there is Kuni Matea from Jaco Oosthuizen.
Yeah, Kuni Matea, you'll see on those pop-up lights, you'll see snake eyes, and he is an expert with snakes, I've heard, and I think I briefly spoke to him and asked him, does he know anything about snakes, and that's the reason. He says, yes, I do. And then he races as well, so you'll see snake eyes on that 928 Porsche. Jaco Oosthuizen will be along with him, sharing the row. Robert Toscano in the MX-5 Mazda. There's the Morgan as well in that group, the Dave Alexander Morgan, the Austin Healey Sprite of Di Dugmore, Roger Lewis in his MGA, and Chris Champion, who was stuck in the mud earlier on, rounding off the field in the MGB GT, and thankfully they got him out there and he can race once again.
Right, so the supercars are tucked in there just behind the Renault Triber, the safety car that's working its way now through turn 4, the double right-hander. There are the Fine Cars working their way through turn number 3, through Interceptor Shoeway corner, and as they make their way out of Interceptor, climbing up the hill towards Saddle Sweep, the double right-hander, turn 4. The supercars are already on the back straight. There they go, weaving from side to side. I doubt you're going to get any heat in those tires on that semi-wet track at that slow speed. But yeah, it's a racing thing. It's what they do.
Yeah, they'll be stomping on the brakes a little bit there just to get that heat into the brakes. Then, of course, get the heat into the tires, get the molecules just, getting circulating inside there just to get the tires to heat up. And yeah, like you said, Frankie, a very cold wind I can hear here as well around the circuit. The rain has stayed away for the last few minutes. Tap on wood, I'll say that. And well, looks like we're ready to go racing, Frankie. The Triber leads them through turn 5 Pertamina Fastron and will turn into the pits shortly.
Yeah, I'm led to believe it's Phil Herald that is the safety car driver, and he moves out the way. It's now in the hands of Glenn Phillips as the pit lane lights are on, and we're going to go racing shortly. The lights will go off now. They drop the hammers and off they go as they race down into turn number 1. And look at Andrew Moffat already carving his way from the back of the field into P3, and had a look there on the inside of Yassine Darman. And it's only going to be a matter of time before he moves up into that second position. But Byron, Fine cars off the line.
Fine cars are off the line, and it's towards turn 1 that Kuni Matia will take the whole shot ahead of Robert Toscano. The Mazda coming up alongside first the Toyota, but he could poke the nose ahead now as I see something happening out of turn 2, Frankie.
Heading towards the kink, Yassin Darman has slowed right down, and I'm afraid that's game, set and match for him. He's out of it, and that car, hang on, wait, he picks up pace again. Maybe you should turn the fuel pump on and then you'll be able to go. I'm just having a joke.
Maybe he's just playing with you, Frankie. Maybe he wants you to think something there. But thankfully, yes, he's got going again and has a little bit of work to do. Down the back straight, they run the Formula Supercars now. And this will come to the completion of lap 1 in this 8-lap race. And then into turn 5, Pertamina fast round will be Glenn Phillips, the man who won race 1 of the Formula Supercars for Kaltron.
Well, Darman is going down the back main very, very slow, but quick enough to keep on going as the lap is done. It is Glenn Phillips from Andrew Moffat in that second position as we watch those fine cars heading to turn number 5, and it is Kuni Matia that's in P1 from Jaco Oosthuizen in second as they work their way out of Fastron.
Well, charge towards the line now, Frankie, and look, in the slipstream, it's going to be for the Toyota. Coming across the line now on the Porsche that leads of Kuni Matia. Underneath the bridge they run, and then towards turn 1, and he's nowhere near close enough to make any sort of a move is Jaco Oosthuizen, who got his way past the Mazda of Robert Toscano, who's now being kept company by the Morgan of Dave Alexander, British Racing Green Morgan. That's a classic car, if you could ever see one.
Right, meantime, the Supercars, they should be working their way down towards the back straight. Yeah, there they go. Down the back main goes your leader. In the Supercars, an overall leader, that's a 54 car of Glenn Phillips, and he's been hassled there by the 39 car of Andrew Moffat. Moffat closing up on him as they head down into Pertamina Fastron into 5.
Well, just looking at where the leaders are, of course, turn 5, as Frankie said, that is still Glenn Phillips from Andrew Moffat. 1.8 seconds the last time around. They've been trading faster sector times. Here we go now towards the line, and they will start another lap. Meanwhile, we look on the back straight once again. Kuni Matia has now kept it ahead of Jaco Oosthuizen. The last time around, between the two of them was 9/10 of a second. We'll watch them as they come towards the line to complete another lap here, and there will be 6 laps left to go for them. Meanwhile, Frankie, Carl Halleck crosses the line.
Yeah, there the two fine cars come down towards us, Kuni Matia and then the conquest of Jaco Oosthuizen. That's first and second. They had the Morgan in third position. Fourth. It's still in fourth because Robert Toscano in the MX-5 is just ahead of the Morgan of Dave Alexander as the two of them work their way into turn number 1.
Just taking a look at the gap between them, 0.3 of a second as they cross the line, 8th and 9th positions respectively. And there goes the Mazda onto the sand of Robert Toscano, turn 1, and he outbraked himself, missed his braking point there quite a bit, and went off of the circuit onto the apron. Luckily, back again. Meanwhile, the leaders, Kuni Matia and Jaco Oosthuizen, on nose to tail with each other through Interceptor Corner. Onto the Tigerberg Straight they will then run now, and then into the double apex right-hander at Sarel Sweep, and that of course is turn 4. Now, let's see if Jaco Oosthuizen can capitalize here. In the slipstream he will be, and then when will he make the move? That is the big thing over here. Let's see them towards turn 5.
Yeah, to turn 5. There's a lovely fight for third, fourth and fifth. It's Carl Halleck from Yassin Darman and Craig Hume. They are sitting third, fourth and fifth because keeping in mind that Phillips and Moffat, they are in P1 and 2. Here comes that fight for third position under the bridge. It is Halleck from Darman, from Craig Hume, and right behind them is that fight for first and second across the line in the fine cars between Kuni Matia and Jaco Oosthuizen.
5 laps left to go. There's battles aplenty in both classes, whether you Formula Supercars or Bejo Trustees Fine Cars. Looking at these leaders coming along soon, but it's actually Carl Halleck and Yassine Darman that are having a good battle with each other. Craig Hume in the same picture as well as they go through Castrol Corner. They have left behind the likes there of Kuni Matia and Jaco Oosthuizen. 1.4 seconds between them as they come now through turn 2 Castrol Corner and into the kink.
Yeah, into the kink, and Yassine Darman through Interceptor has now got his nose ahead there of Carl Halleck and trying to pull away from Carl Halleck, followed there by Craig Hume as they work their way through turn number 4, the double right-hander, that is Cyril Sweep, and right in there behind them, there the two leading fine cars go through Cyril Sweep of Kuni Matia and Jaco Oosthuizen.
A lot of smoke coming across the circuit over there. I don't know if that's any bride grills or anything around here that's doing that. I was just trying to check if anybody was running in that direction. But here come our second and third places for the Carl Halleck and Yassine Darman for the Supercars, and behind them will be the leaders for the Fine Cars section. Meanwhile, here comes now through Interceptor Corner. That's the MGB that is being lapped there of Chris Champion. And you'll have now ahead of him Andrew Moffat, who leads the way by a 1/10 of a second the last time around, and into turn 4, double apex right-hander, as I always say, of Sarel van der Merwe Sweep.
Yeah, I took that lead away from, as a matter of fact, no, it's still Phillips that sits ahead of Moffat going down the back straight. So he did get his nose in front of Glenn, but Glenn took that lead away from him again. And heading into 5, into Fostron, it is Phillips that's now been hassled once again by Andrew Moffat. So that lead did change, has gone back to Phillips from Moffat. They're going to pick up the MX-5 of Toscano as the two leaders work their way across the start-finish line into turn number 1. It is Glenn Phillips ahead there of Andrew Moffat, and Glenn, the quickest man out there, with a 1:28.085.
And I think he's just taken the lead right back, Frankie. So yes, fastest lap and the lead now. They were half a second between them in the last sector. Andrew Moffat was quickest. They are still trading those sector times. They're coming up now to the back of Robert Toscano, the former champion in the Bejo Trustees Fine Cars. He's giving them the long way around here. He'll hold the inside, and the two supercars will make their way through now on this 2 and a bit laps left to go. You could see there that Mazda going through the bit of wetness on the circuit. Blue flags are waving, and the MG is next on the list for the leaders of the Formula Supercars.
Well, the fine cars are busy working their way into turn number 1, and the two leaders are right there with each other, Kuni Matia and Jaco Oosthuizen. The other two of them work their way through 1, and there's not much between the two of them in the fine car section, as we have that fight for the lead, chopping and changing once again into Fostron Corner. And I'll tell you what, Moffat is not going to let Phillips get away with this one.
Yeah, they're trading the lead now. Yeah, they come down towards the line, Frankie, underneath the City of Cape Town Bridge, Castrol Bridge. They're going to be side by side over the line now. Just over the line will be Andrew Moffat, but onto the inside for turn 1, it will be Glenn Phillips. A bit of a lock up there from Andrew Moffat, and he loses out just a little bit, going a bit wide.
Well, this fight's not done yet. They've got 1 2/3 laps still to go as they head into 2, into Castrol. Through Castrol they work their way, and will Moffat catch up to him? I said he's not going to make life easy for Glenn, and he's sure as heck is not doing that. Through the kink they run towards Interceptor Corner. Phillips seems to have broken him purely because he went very wide, Moffat, in turn 1. And I think Andrew's now battling to catch up to the back end there of Phillips.
Yassine Darman is parked just before turn 4, Frankie. That's where the yellow flags will be coming out now. So unfortunately, it looks like his race has run. Red flag. Okay, so red flag I'm hearing over the from Tiny, and the red flag is out. Red flag is out.
So that will be the end of that with 2 laps to go. I'm almost certain that race control will say 77% is done and call it a race, but that's not for us to call. That's for the COC and the stewards to decide exactly what they're going to do there. Strange, Byron. Gary picked it up just as it happened that he couldn't get that car off the circuit. But yeah, so we got confirmation from Emil of Tiny's pit box that it has been called a race. 77% done, so it is a full race.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a horrid day there for Yassine Darman. He had some issues, I know, in race 1. Now these issues in race 2. So his very difficult day has come to a conclusion. There goes Chris Champion, also passed as well. So that means that Andrew Moffat would be the victor in this race ahead of Glenn Phillips. And that would have been by, last time, it would have been 0.05 of a second. Yassine Darman was running in 3rd position when he pulled off.
So that tells me they've gone a lap back, because
yes,
remember, Moffat went into turn 1 very wide and lost ground to Glenn, and I was still saying as they came out of Interceptor, he's not going to catch up to Glenn that easily. So the fact that Moffat gets classified as first means that they've obviously, only guessing, they've gone a lap back, which then will give the victory to Moffat. And even though Darman is out the race, he will be classified as 3rd.
That would be, I think, the logical way.
That's what it looks like to me on the screen.
Yes, and we'll have to watch the space and keep you informed on that. Glenn Phillips would be then 2nd, Yassine Darman out of the race, but still 3rd. Carl Halleck in 4th, Craig Hume in 5th position, and that's the 5 supercars. Then Kuni Mattia would be the victor in the Bejo Trustees Fine Cars section in his 928, and that would be just ahead, 1.9 seconds ahead exact, of Jakub Wursteys, and Dave Alexander coming up into 3rd place in the Morgan ahead of Robert Toscano in 9th, 4th in the class. Chris Champion in 10th, 5th in the Bejo Trustee Fine Cars class, and then in 11th spot and rounding everything off, Roger Lewis, whilst Dougmore's Frog-Eyed Sprite was not classified as a starter.
Right, so 2 more races to go. That's in the bike category, and I've just got information here from Tiny that it will be 2 8-lap bike races.